Hey guys, what's up? It's Mark here from Bullshit Games, and this is going to be the first episode of the quest for gaming at college. Now, you might notice I'm not in the office, I'm not in my kitchen, and I'm not in the dorm room from last year. It's because this is my temporary dorm room until the new ones are finished, but that's not important. What I want to talk about today, and in this series, is being a quote-unquote nerd, geek, dork, whatever you want to call it, at college, and trying to find other people who you can game with. And I kind of want to highlight the difference between being like a video game player and how easy it is to find other people that play video games compared to being like a tabletop board game, role-playing game player, and how it can be a little bit more challenging to find that at college. So far, this is my start of my third semester, and what I'm looking at right now, I'm going to bring the camera a little closer. My first semester, I did no gaming here at all. I couldn't find any gamers to game with. I got invited to go play Magic a couple times, but I'm not really into Magic anymore, so I didn't go. I didn't want to get back into that habit because to me it's a lot of money for what you get. But anyway, I guess my second semester, I found a few people, and I had met a couple of these people my first semester. We managed to get some people together, and we ran in a D&D game. It was a game where our DM was kind of new. I think it was her second or third time DMing. I think I was the only veteran player, so to speak, the only person who had played D&D for an extenuous amount of time. And then we had a person, my buddy Kalen, who played MMOs and was familiar with the D&D world, but had never played. And then we had three people who had never played before. It was their first time, and they were just jumping right in. And I will say, it was really kind of cool being in a sort of a beginner group again. It was something I haven't done in quite a while, playing with people who hadn't really played before. I'm so used to playing with people who, that we've been doing it so long that they just have a totally different outlook on things. You take for granted when you're a wizard that you have certain spells, or when you're a cleric, you take for granted the fact that you're like, oh, I can cast heal, or if you're a fighter, you kind of take for granted the fact that you have all these abilities that let you poke, smash, stab, hurt the enemy. The only thing I thought was a little weird about the campaign last semester was the DM. She felt that we needed to start at a very high level. She felt we needed to start at, I believe, level 10. That's something I'm not a fan of. I don't like starting with a high level character. I think you should always start at level 1 or 3 at the most. That way you have to build your character up. You have to you come to appreciate what your character can do and what your character can't do, and you learn how to utilize your skill sets from like the first starter block of skills to the next level, so on and so forth. It gives you a bit of time to understand what you're doing, and I think for new players coming in especially, that's important, because if you've never played the game before, you don't know what's going on. You don't really know. You have a character sheet, and all that is to you is a bunch of words and numbers. It doesn't really mean anything. It's supposed to be your character, it's supposed to represent your character, but you don't know why, and you don't really know what it is about it that represents your character. So I think level 1 is always a good place to start. That is not to say that we did not have fun in that campaign. That campaign was probably one of the more amusing campaigns I've played in. Now, I will say this. The group I'm in, we are currently pretty... we're laid back. There was a lot of joking and a lot of banter at the table. Some nights it was kind of detrimental to progress. It turned into just ridiculousness. But that's not a bad thing. I think every once in a while you need to have that. You need to have like a night of shenanigans where you might only go, you know, 2 more steps down the path of the story, but everybody had a good time, everybody laughed, and the people you all get to know each other a little bit better, which I think is pretty important, because your role-playing group is the group that you're undertaking this adventure with, or the ones you're going through the story with, so you don't really want to be strangers, I guess, is a good way to say it. I guess that brings me to this semester, which currently I have way more role-playing aspects on my plate than I have had in a long, long time. My buddy Mike, who is my roommate, though not currently because of the weird temporary dorm situation, he's writing his own RPG rule set. It's somewhat bare bones at the moment, but it's a pretty beta from what I've gathered. He's asked me to be part of a playtest group he's running up here at school. We had our first session on Tuesday night, and we're going to have one again Thursday. It's interesting so far. I'm interested to get a few more sessions under my belt to see how it plays out. The thing I found interesting that I think he's trying to go for is a no dice mechanic, which I'm on the fence about. We'll see how that works out. It could be really entertaining. I'm just so used to dice. I'm so used to having that mechanic to judge whether you succeed or fail that a different mechanic will take some getting used to. Then on Wednesdays, my group from last semester, minus our DM, who she sadly didn't make it back this year. Not sure why. That's not a concern, but it's sad to see her not come back. She was a good DM. She was a fun person to have run a game. But the rest of us, plus a couple of new people that we've managed to draw in, will be undertaking a new campaign. Hopefully starting next week. We'll be doing it on Mondays. And that's going to be a lot of silliness. I'm not sure yet who's DMing the game. It's either going to be myself or my buddy Kalen, who it will be his first time DMing. So if he wants and or needs help, I can help him along in the running of the game, so to speak. But that's where I'm at right now with the quest for gaming at college. I am also going to be running a D&D group every other Friday back at the office for my friends back home. So it's going to be a lot of role-playing, which isn't a bad thing. I think it's great. And it's nice that the one game that I'm in is going to be completely different from what other things I'll be playing, because Mike's game, which I don't know if he's settled on the title or if it's a working title, is dubbed Eden, is just totally different from the D&D I know we'll be doing on Monday, and the probably Pathfinder that I will be running every other Friday for my group down home. The only thing is, if I end up DMing 2 games, it might get a little stressful, I guess. It won't be that bad, because I have a week between sessions down home to fit things in, and I have a lighter class load this semester than I did the past 2, so that gives me a little bit more time. The one thing I've noticed, I saw on Facebook, I have yet to find it, is there's a gaming store that has opened up here in Mansfield once again. I don't know where it is exactly, but I have every intention of finding it, and I would like to go down there and see just what's going on. Because I'm sure other people here from college, that's actually how I found out about it. A friend of mine from school on Facebook liked the page, and I'm sure other students here will be going to it. So that is a good way to expand my my gaming circle here at college. And while I have the role playing going on, I've brought some board games with me. I'd kind of like to find some people to play those with as well, because role playing is nice, but every once in a while it's nice to just sit down and play a board game where everything is set out and done for you, and you don't so much have to have somebody thinking about and planning everything ahead, and you don't have everybody kind of having to think about how they're going to interact at the table. But that's on the board. I plan on putting maybe signs up about that around campus. I had thought about starting a gaming club, but there's a lot of, I believe, paperwork involved in that, and you have to have a reason for the club to exist that you can justify to student government and COF, the fund board, which, being a gaming club, might be a little difficult. I mean, there's definitely academic credits to playing board games. It enhances your critical thinking, it enhances strategic thinking. Role-playing games enhance creativity and things of that nature, but I don't know how far you could take that. And if you make it a club, you have to have set meeting times, you have to have officers like a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer, and that's just all a bunch of hassle that it's just easier avoided by not making an official group and just having an unofficial group that gets together whenever they can, via Facebook or whatever. Facebook has made finding gamers a lot easier. The thing that I will say is it's kind of amazing just so far this past week and a half that if you're willing to talk about kind of the nerdier, geekier things, you'll find other people that are into that. You just can't be afraid to, lack of a better term, let your geek flag fly. When you do, other people might surprise you. Like, person in my intro to fiction writing class, I mentioned D20s, and the first thing she asked me was, what game systems, what RPs do you play? And it's just always interesting to see that, and I found a good number of people up here do play Magic the Gathering. I've heard some people talk about Warhammer and 40K, but that's neither really here nor there, because I don't know anywhere you could set up to play that here on campus. You'd have to find a gaming store, which apparently we do have off campus now down in the town of Mansfield. But yeah, that was just kind of, I wanted to get this series going. I wanted to kind of announce what the prospects are looking like right now, which it's looking like I have found in a playtesting group for Eden, for my roommate Mike's role-playing game, which is going to prove interesting. It's looking like D&D for me on Mondays, which will probably be a mixture of 3 and 3.5. I don't think any of us, I know I don't, and I'm pretty sure the other person who could potentially be DM doesn't own any 4th edition books. So it's looking like Tuesdays and Thursdays is Eden, Mondays is going to be D&D 3/3.5, and every other Friday down home is going to be Pathfinder. That's what's looking like right now, and basically what I'm going to look to do on this sort of vlog thing series is I want to kind of talk about the gaming sessions that we have and how the games look, share with you any amusing bits from the sessions. And if there's anyone from the groups that end up wanting to be on talking about things, like I know I'm going to bring Mike in one of these days down the road to talk about Eden, to talk about kind of what his vision for that game is. And I have another friend that wants to come on and talk about games. So there's going to be some interviews, just me and a friend or two talking about gaming. I'm going to talk to you about kind of what happened in the game, and if somebody died or something really cool or epic happened. And I'm sure I'll talk about the gaming store here once I find it. But that's kind of it for this episode. Like I said, this is the pilot kind of. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully you guys will like it, and hopefully you'll leave comments or likes, or if you don't like it, you'll leave us a dislike and a comment as to why. And if you really like it, you'll subscribe to the channel, because subscribing makes us happy. On a totally unrelated note, I got turned on to the podcast, I think it's a podcast, for Welcome to Night Vale. And it's looking like that is going to be probably what I listen to most nights while doing homework. It's just it's a great little, like, sort of horror-themed fake radio station type deal. And it's pretty great. It's pretty great fun. And if I ever ran a D20 modern horror game, I might use that as a background for it. Things to consider. But that's it for me. I'm going to go. Hopefully you liked the video. And I will see you next week here on the quest for gaming at college.